Hey, there we are. Okay. Hey everybody, the Adept here, and we are getting this. All right. That's fine. All right, what do you think? Nice little Halloween themed Tide Alice by Epomaker. I was just doing a little review on this, so I'm going to be posting that shortly throughout like Reddit and on their Discord. But yeah, anyway, disconnect that, set it to the side, because that's not why I'm here today. Today we're here to look at the Dry Studio Ice Ring 63. So their packaging is kind of fun-ish, funny, I guess, since it's really just like packing material turned into a box, so that is fun. Oh yeah. Sometimes, yeah, you come here. There. Since I am simulcasting this, I do want to have the chat up for my adoring YouTube fans. I will set that off to the side. Alright, so yeah, Ice Ring 63 RT. Links to their Discord. Quick start sheet. So, pretty basic. Multicolored WASD keycaps, because this is a gaming keyboard after all. Braided USB A to C cable. And of course the keyboard itself. Keyboard, which I believe on Amazon right now is $129. It's very interesting design. It's very light, even though, you know, it's all metal. It has this RGB ring, which we'll see when we go ahead and plug it in. Because we want it to be that. So this is the out-of-the-box experience. Let's take a look at the Well, let's go ahead and plug it in. We'll type on it a little bit because I'm going to bring up their web page. So let me take a look at the stats for this bad boy. I hope. Not with that cable, I won't. Let's go ahead and use their own cable. I need to replace that cable. It apparently does not carry enough current to light up some keyboards, like Hall effect keyboards, etc. Alright, so welcome back if you were gone. Alright, so let's take a look at this. So this is the, like I said, the Dry Studio Ice Ring 63 RT. The colorway that we have here, this is not sponsored. I purchased this with my own money. And this is the Deep Space Titan colorway. So kind of a titanium gray surface, which really kind of looks like almost a brown. I mean, it's brown. So one of the reasons why it has this whole configuration here, and let's get that out of the way for a second, is it's using this basically as a heatsink to take away the heat generated by the CPU to make this work a little bit better. As you see, the ring itself lights up. We can change it. Flashes. Now it's in battle mode, I think. Change it some more. Has 4 modes. This is the daily driver mode. This is where we're going to be using it right now. Mainly because it's easier to type on. You can see the full RGB that it's got going on. I don't know if I would call that ultra fast. I mean, it kind of took a lot of spinning, and then you got to wait for it to change. And here's the modes. There you go. Life mode. It was Valorant mode is red, battle mode is blue, and self-only mode, which I think is a custom mode, is green. Yeah, so that's talking about the metal body, dissipating heat. This is all crafted from a single piece of aluminum that it then bends up. This is all CNC machine with 6063, which is, let's be honest, it's kind of standard right now for your aluminum cases are going to be that. The integrated foot pads, which essentially, we're going to talk that this has got a long pad, which, you know, of course, some creators and other people will tell you that is not good. So it comes with TTC COM RGB switches. The COM RGB switches are a clear case, relatively loud, typing feel responsive, stability is pretty good. That square stem housing, but 8K polling, 16K scan rate, with a latency as low as 0.125 milliseconds, which means nothing because as low as means it could also be 7. 7 seconds. It could be 60 seconds. As low as is meaningless. And then you have the software. Let's go ahead and we're going to open up the software in a new tab. Hello? Apparently that 8K polling and 16K scan rate does not apply to their website. While we're waiting, let's do a quick typing test. I mean, it sounds like garbage. I do not like the sound at all. And the website's still not coming up. Let's try and give it a control function 5. See if that even works. It doesn't. See, you know, hold on. Let's stop it. Let's now do control function 5. That's not even doing anything. Do. This keyboard, I tell you. Well, like I often say, and actually while we're waiting on that to come up, we'll just go ahead and what do we want to try in here? Well, first of all, we'll look at the switches that are in here. I feel confident that that site's not even going to bother, but we'll let it go. So let's see if I can get this in frame. Well, still. Yeah. So these are the COM switches. They are basically the same as the magneto switches, only with a clear housing, and they sound about as good. Which is to say, they don't sound good. What do I got handy? I know I have those. Well, first of all, let's go with the thing that is most likely to sound decent. And by sound decent, I mean take away the sound, because that is really what you want to do in this case. So we're going to put in some AE boards reds. Of course, as soon as you do that, you are going to kill your RGB. So I hope you didn't want that. But I mean, that makes reds louder, which actually makes them sound not bad at all. So reds are good for this board, but I mean, reds are good on just about any board because for the most part, in general, it makes it silent, which is not necessarily a bad thing, especially in this case. What about some... Let's do that. What about the old reliable Gateron Jade Pros? I mean, this whole thing is moot. I mean, if your website's not going to work, and that's how you configure the board, then don't buy this board. Unfortunately. I mean, you can. It's just because it has it has 3 standardized modes. All right, so obviously this is going to color your RGB a little bit, and you can see, I think it's kind of coming up on the sides where you can see the aqua color. But these are the comms. Here's the Jade Pros. It's not that bad. It's not great. It kind of emphasizes, in both cases, more of the plasticky quality of the switches. But not really. It's not really given anything. Like I blame the design, and if you are going to be playing with a headset anyway, then it doesn't matter, and I would say feel free to use this. I don't know if you can tell because it's just bright, but there is no hole for a stem and no sockets. So this is not a TMR board anyway, so it's not really going to matter. But you cannot hot swap mechanical in here, obviously. I thought I had some. I bet they're downstairs. Oh. Then there's these new containers here. Let me move this. We'll check on you later. New switch containers. I'm still working on trying to get the words to come up on the top, but the only problem is this. Sometimes the switches will grab on. You got to push it out of the way. And that, and the fact that it is not loose, but it slides easily. So I'm trying to figure out what can be done about that. It needs some sort of locking mechanism when it gets to the end. Like either front or back, something. I'm not sure. But it's cool. You can kind of see what you got. And yeah. And it's the cost of the printing, which isn't a lot. It's just time. And then I tried to put the type of switches that are on here on the top, and I sort of succeeded, except it put a layer of silver on top of the words, so it didn't quite come through. I'm going to try that again on this one, which is my silver smoothies. I just kind of, this actually, I didn't put anything on top, and then, so I made the silver cases, the cases for my silver switches out of silver, which I thought was fun. And then I'm going to try to remake the top of this one with the words and have it come out properly. But that's still not this keyboard. The website is still not coming up. Maybe let's try it this way. Oh wait, hold on. Let me bring you back where I'm at. I can. Nope, that's not it. Okay. So what I did notice, this still does not really bode well for the keyboard, but there is a pointer here right under the word keyboard, even if it doesn't say anything. Let's try stopping it. No, it doesn't. Control, refresh. No. Oh, no, there it is. All right. All right, we're in. All right, software, finally. Okay, let's put some switches back in this thing. Oh, God, I hate these switches so much. I feel like I was just talking crap about the TTC switches just the other day, because I was. Because they're garbage. Okay. So, first of all, let's see if we can make this not Chinese. Weird. That's still in Chinese. Okay. Anyway. Is there a way settings? Oh, there's languages too. No, let's not do that now. So it does have Rappy Snappy, which is Snappy Tappy, or whatever, Appy Appy. Socked, Dynamic Keystroke, Mod Tap, which is based on behavior. You can have two different things. Toggle key. That's interesting. You can select a key and like double tap it and make it lock. We'll look at the lighting effects. Oh, we're on the knob. Let's go back. Let's go here. Let's do that. There you go. Some rainbow color effect going on. Performance. Select switch. So it is currently selected. Let's do key calibration. Why is it not doing a thing? Okay, so we've recalibrated the keyboard. All right. Let's try and keep it in frame. That was interesting. Now maybe I'll try that again. Okay, no, it doesn't need it. Let's see. We have default layer, which is layer 0, layer 1, Mac layer 1. So that is good. I mean, at least you have that, and you could probably, if you wanted to, ditch the Mac layer and turn it into, let's see, can we? Yes, so we could do this, change it into function layer 3, and then steal the second layer from the Mac. Let me set that back. I will. So interesting. As far as I can tell, this is the only place where you can adjust the knob on and off mode, which I'm going to steal it from here. Turn it into that. And that. And mute. And then stop. And play. And then previous. And then next. And apply. Save successful. works just fine. All right. Well, that's good. I keep wanting to move it. Am I still in frame? I am. Okay. All right. So, overall, the software works if you can get into it. It's not great, and the fact that I couldn't get into it is also not great. Okay, so this is looking better now. So let's go to self-only. Alright, so now we're in self-only mode. And now we're editing self-only mode. So we're going to turn on, select all. We are now all in rapid trigger. Okay. Why isn't this doing the thing now? So we can do a continuous rapid trigger, trigger accuracy. Why would you want that to? I guess it doesn't matter. Probably uses up more CPU cycles. So, but we'll set it for that. Oh, we gotta select all. And apply. Because forget dead zones or anything like that. We're in it for the long haul. I don't like the sound of this board. Stabilizers, which are plate mount, need at least a little tuning or replacement. Let's see. The question is, can we get PCB mount? Maybe I should use a different key to check this. Oh, that's a non-standard size for that key. Just keep that in mind. If you do have this keyboard, that is not your standard left shift size. That is the next size down. Come on. It does not support PCB mount stabilizers, and there's like a I don't know if y'all can see this, but it's there's like a ton of lube that leaked out, which explains why it didn't sound as good. Sorry. Let's put the stab back in, at the very least. Yeah, I'm not going to do too much with this thing. I don't think. I don't like it. I think my opinion of this thing is clear. It is not a very good board. I would recommend getting. I mean, like I said, this has a $129 price tag on it, and for that kind of money, you could get something like a Venom PCB for like $60. Well, you get a pre-built. So if we talk about pre-builts, right? And you can get something like the Aula that I got, right? And then that was like $40. And actually, I got it for last at auction. And then I went and put it into a well, in my case, I happen to have the Salvation. So I took the guts from that plastic case out, put it into a Salvation. Now, you don't need to use Salvation, obviously, but, I mean, you can get a tofu for like $70. You can take all the guts out, put it into the tofu for $70, and then, well, oh, right, this has the reds in it. But, hold on. No. So, I mean, I would say overall, like, the software is at least as good from Aula. And you could do other things too. I mean, there's tons of, at the $130 price point. I mean, that now you're talking about the M1 V5 from Monsgeek. That is right in that same range. And then you'll have your function row, if that's something you want. And it is TMR, supports both mechanical and... Now, the design, I mean, if you're going to buy this and just kind of put it on a shelf and make it look pretty, I mean, okay, that's fine. That's what this is. As Paul Hollywood would say, this is a style, no substance keyboard. That's my opinion of this. And so, take that what you will. I do not recommend it. And I would say that for the same price point, there's lots of different ways you can go. And for a little more, now you're starting to get into wooting area. Now you're starting to get into, like, design it yourself, like I said, with a Venom PCB, tofu case, and you know, maybe some Owl Labs TI, Hall effect switches. There's some new ones that I haven't tried yet that are new. The new Wuche Studio Flux switches that have the hexagonal housing or stems. Those are supposed to be really good. Not sponsored by Coke, but if they wanted me to give that, I would take their sweet, sweet Coca-Cola money. So, yeah. For the price point, this is a big no for me. As Fozzie Bear would say, moving right along. Now, let's put this stuff away. Let's go into something else that will likely not disappoint me. I still think the case is funny, though, since it's made out of foam. Like, I mean, it's gonna do its job, pretty much, but... And, I mean, it's not bad. Put that back in there, close that up, lock it up, get out of the way. So yeah. This I got in an auction. This is the Galaxy 70. As you can tell, it is it's pretty funny because obviously the people who originally owned this could not figure out how to get that slip case off, and so they literally cut it open to get at it. They're like, well, this shit. So in the case, this might not be 100% representative of what comes in your case were you to buy it. We have a rubberized A to C cable. We have a keycap switch puller. We have some replacement switches, which are nice and to look up. And then we have their usual book. Actually, this is more regular paper than what I'm used to seeing from Epomaker. It's usually a slick paper. Not that it matters. And we have the keyboard. So the keyboard that we got is the black and pink. And it has a what looks like an MDA profile. Let's go take a look. Let's go get some stats, shall we? Oh, that's the Ajaz mouse. It is the Ajaz Nicodex AJ159 Apex mouse. Sorry, Fex XYZ? Fexix? So, hey, thanks for the Prime, KJ Maelstrom. Awesome. You did not pop up in my thing. So, Fec XYZ, we'll just call him Fec. TMR right now isn't worth it. It performs worse than Hall Effect. On the current TMR keyboards, it's more worth it to get mechanical. So, all right, let's before I get too far away from that, let's get into that a little bit. So, one of the benefits of the TMR keyboards is that you can, depending on the keyboard, as is the case in the M1 V5 TMR, you can replace some or all, you can mix and match mechanical and Hall Hall effect keyboard, Hall effect switches. So when you're talking about gaming, which is what you do when you talk about Hall effect, you're now talking about how much of a benefit is Hall effect going to give you? And the answer to that question is probably not that much. So unless you are a professional gamer, you plan on being a professional gamer, you're working towards being a professional gamer, if you have a keyboard with 1,000 hertz polling rate, or 2,000 tops, and then some good speed silver like these Gateron Smoothie Silvers. There you go. Gateron Smoothie Silver switches, or like the Geek Speed Silver switches, where you have just a little bit of a shorter actuation point. I mean, you're right. That's fine. I mean, that's, you get a Hall effect for a number of reasons. Like I said, if you're higher tier, you might see a small bump in performance, or at least you would be somewhat keeping up with the Joneses on that front. If you're not, then I would say that some of the features that Hall effect gives you might be intriguing for you. It's best at neither. I mean, it's kind of a blanket statement that you're making, and that's not necessarily the case. And you're in a lot of cases, this is going to be software based. So that is something that can, and in likelihood will, improve in the future. The technology is solid. Using the TMR sensors is lower power than standard Hall effect. And as far as you don't have to, like, you're not selling me on mechanical keyboards. I've got a few mechanical keyboards, let me just say. And I love mechanical keyboards. I think that they are better than as far as feel and sound, and the only thing that you can get are some additional features, and not even all of those anymore. We looked at a keyboard last week that had sock on it. It was a mechanical keyboard that had sock. Yeah, TMR will likely be better later on. And the question is that, like, I'm saying it's software. Again, I'm making a generalization, not based on any actual facts, because I am not a keyboard yet a designer. And if I was, it wouldn't be with TMR sensors. I would be designing a mechanical keyboard if I would. And if I designed it, I would design how I wanted it, and then I have a friend who is interested in trying to make that a reality, and I'm cool with that. I'm awesome with that. I look forward to it. But so now you're starting to see features from the Hall effect world coming into the mechanical switch world. And the keyboard I'm talking about is the Epomaker RT85, which, if you haven't seen my video on that, which is last week, you should check it out, because as far as a plastic $85 keyboard goes, well, like I said, it has sock. It has one of the best screens that I've seen. It has a completely stupid and useless joystick on it. but still it has a joystick on it. It's if you like creamy, like deep sounding plastic keyboard, it's the bee's knees. I will go on about that for a little bit, but that's a different Epomaker keyboard. So, but yeah, for the most part, Hall effect is what people conceptually want. It is not what people actually need, and that's the state of things. It is all about the new hotness, and that new hotness does not translate into a better real world experience. And I mean, that's just the way it goes. I mean, the technology, it's like any new technology. It's like custom mechanical keyboards back in the early 2000s, when you primarily had these wired up boards coming out of Korea, and they weren't that great. Like some of the most sought after keyboards, I'm specifically going to call out things like the Unicorn and the Kohaku, are freaking super awesomely designed. But at the end of the day, they're just your basic top down. TMR is the new hot thing, and it's just it's what people are looking for. If they're gaming, if they're not gaming, then you have many strata. You have the people who are basically just want, the $5 e-waste keyboard that came with their PC, and they'll use it until it dies, and then they'll go buy a Logitech for another $5. It's really not. That's obviously not the group that's going to be hanging out here probably with me. Maybe it is. Who knows? I'm cool with everybody. Then you have people who are like solid in the like old school mechanical keyboards, and they want things like the Kohaku, and and they're getting like really high end expensive mechanical keyboards. I can't afford those. I will, if I ever have one of those keyboards on my stream, I would be super surprised. It would probably be a build that came from a client, if I ever get any of those. And why does that sticker on it? Anyway, so this, by the way, like I said, this is a tri-mode. So this sticker here, we're going to put you right there, covers up the wireless dongle, which I think this is one of the better implementation placements, because you don't have to turn it over, unlike like the QKs, or the Neos, or the Melitrix, the Zoom 65 for instance. Sorry, I get distracted by keyboards. It's like, no, we're not going to say that. But you can just, hey Chris, look over here, keyboard, and I'd be doing it anyway. But if you're going to get a Hall effect keyboard, getting one that supports both mechanical and Hall effect, I think, is better than just getting a straight up mechanical keyboard. Now, I will recommend that. To go back to the original point I was going to make. So that's the thing. Hey, Ice Cold. What's up, Ice Cold Water? How are you? All right. You already missed the Ice Ring 63. I thought it was hot garbage. To sum up, the website wasn't great. the switches, which are those TTC COM / Magneto. They have a few different names, but all of them are that loud, plasticky kind of sounding switch, which is not great and is even worse. This keyboard, the Epomaker. Oh, hey. Wow. How about that? This is stock. This is out of the box. Oh, that could use some work. Which we can do. So yeah, this, I mean, again, this is making your point for you, Feck, because this is an out of the box. Let's take a look. Like I was about to do. Let's take a look at that RGB. It has a center-mounted USB-C, which is nice. It has an on-off switch on the back, similar to the Tide, which is one of the things I'm actually praising in their in the review that I did of the Tide Alice. All right, so this is the, and apparently it doesn't come in black and pink anymore through their website, which is funny. Window capture, let's bring it up. No. Where are you in my list? Bother burgling and everything to do with it. Sorry about the delay. I've got to get a new window capture going. There we go. All right. So as it says, it's a 75% gasket. We'll take a look at that once we crack this bad baby open. Hot swappable, wired and wireless. I don't know. That should mean that it has Bluetooth as well, but we know at least it has the 2.5 or 2.4 gigahertz. And popped out and didn't want to go back in. All right. And then the this is the beige, which is the only colorway available through their website at the moment. Backlit RGB, which we'll get to. It is not VIA compatible. So that is a downside on this. Their software isn't the worst. It's not the best either. Because it's not VIA. Yes, it does support 3 Bluetooth devices at once, as well as 2.4 and wired. Has a 7-degree typing angle, so kind of decent there. But that front height, 23 millimeters, so that definitely fails the Alex test. Alex Otis, who would prefer that all front heights are below 20 millimeters. 2.8 millisecond latency, so You know, it's not great, but it does have 1,000 hertz polling rate. So if you're gaming, obviously you should be wired. That 5 milliseconds latency is not going to kill you if you're not a professional gamer, but it's not going to be great either. 1.79 kilograms. That's stock. So we're going to be changing this bad baby up in a little bit. These are cherry keycaps on the version through the website, but I haven't tried the Everglide SU75 Pros. Let's take a look at that. I haven't tried any of the Everglide Hall effect switches yet. I've tried the Geon Raws, obviously the Reds, which I'm a big fan of. It does have a slight tactile bump, but that's nice. Obviously the Gatorons. I've tried the HMX Crystal, which I'm a fan of. That's on my M1.5 right now, TMR. M1V5 TMR keyboard right now. And I did try the Owl Lab T1s. I didn't find them to be that significantly different. So you say you bought yours from Keepforce for $100 during pre-order. How many was in that order? Because I also try to keep my Switch purchases, such as they are, in less than 50 cents a Switch. Now, Hall effect, that's sometimes rough, but yeah, try to keep it in that range. Let's see. They had some stats on the switches. There they are. So the switches that come in here are the Huano Blossom Odyssey switch. So that explains why they sound so good, because I generally like their switches, and the trigger force of 40 grams is a little light for me. And I'm going to look and see what's going on with this spacebar, because that bottom out is just rough. Oh, that's why. Apparently the foam, I don't know what's going on with you. Come out. I'm just taking you out. You're not helping. If you're not helping, then you're hurting. It's not always the case, but it is the case with this. Oh well, go to sleep. It's 4 a.m., man. It's 4 a.m. and I could be asleep by the way. Alright. So this has some sticky on the bottom, but basically the spacebar dampening foam was sticking up. So I'm just pulling it out. I can try to put it back in later. That is just going to rip the rest of that apart. So we're just going to put it back. I don't like that. That's freaking stupid. All right. Obviously, this has a PC plate. Hey, that's a better spacebar. Okay. Gotta plug it back in, don't I? Let's see here. So semi-transparent keycaps. Little butt. Is that a button? Let's see. It's interesting how it lights up on the top and the bottom. 8,000 hertz polling rate, which is Hey, how's it going? Thanks for the redeem. The thing isn't a button, it's just an accent light. Oh, hey, I was looking for you. Adjustable action, dynamic rapid trigger, snappy tappy, appy appy. Happy clappy, who knows? Siren switch, skyline switch, these I guess are internally made, or at least branded. Has a web app, yay! It actually doesn't look too bad. I don't think we can get into it unless it has a demo mode. Nope, it's not going to let us in, so no demo mode. So is this a generic web app? I wonder. CNC body. Hey, that's a nice looking aluminum. It has the lucky clover on the bottom. Recommended by Migs. Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty good. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Yeah, that's cool. Actually, I would rather see something like that if it gets well developed, because it's used, like it gets more generally used than something like something like the driver we're going to look at for this guy, which is exclusive to Epomaker. Now, the new Galaxy keyboards, like the 100, they're coming across as VIA compatible. And then I do like some of the newer ones that are also just forks of VIA, because I can support that too. 139.90. I mean, again, looks like it's a pretty nice case, although I am a little, like, it gives me pause, the fact that it has the lucky clover on the bottom, because it makes me think that it is an OEM case, an OEM PCB. It's just a bunch of OEM parts that they kind of tossed together and gave it their own name. Which isn't necessarily bad. Like, you know, I love the Inky 75, and that uses the same OEM PCB as the Rainy 75. And I would recommend that to people. So when you say that it's like top 5 performing Hall effect keyboards, does that include things that are like the Venom? Because I have yet to see the Geon Venom get placed in a ranking list. So where would it fall? You know, these are the questions that haunt me, that keep me up at night. Not really, they don't. I sleep pretty well. But yeah. We're gonna disconnect this. We're gonna bring down the window capture. So where does it rank in comparison to a Geon Venom? I guess is my question. So again, this is an MDA profile that it's got on it by default. It's got a knob. It's got an accent light here. The side profile for this is pretty nice. You know, it's, play on the box on wedge, but it's very curvy. I suspect, as I also suspected with the Galaxy 80, is that this is a die-cast case and not... Oh, hey, look, I left some sticker on here. That's a die-cast case and not a actual milled aluminum case, but I don't know that for certain. I know the Tide series are milled, but there are no screws in the bottom, so let's... Yeah, it's a... So this is a hidden screw design. With Phillips head. Yay! Yay! Alex Otis and I don't agree on a lot, such as our opinion of the color blue, because it's awesome, and he's wrong. But we do agree that Phillips head are not good. For the same reason. I mean, it's... Okay. Well, that's cool. I mean, let's see, is that all of them? Or am I missing at least one? Oh, well, there's that one that I actually found and didn't remove. Check the middle just to be sure. Okay, let's remove this one. Gotta remove the knob. Alright. So the finish on here is a little rough. It's not like a really smooth. Obviously, it is a paint job. Here's our gaskets. So, not too bad. I mean, they're plate gaskets. So you can't run it plateless. Oh no. Alright, so what do we got here? We got JST connectors on the bottom. Wireless runs to the back. Here's one. There is the knob JST connector. And last. Alright. So that should be all of them. So we have the case foam. That is less than spectacular, but it fits in right there. So there's, careful. So there's this little plastic piece right here, and that is for the wireless and Bluetooth reception. So this kind of just fits back into there. There you go. And that goes to the board. The board, which is a per key flex cut with no options whatsoever, not even pretend ones. It's a little sad. There's no design here for ISO, so there's more than likely no ISO version of this board. You can see here, which, well, we're gonna make some changes. So let's go ahead and we're gonna pull this thing apart. I don't know. I might just use the switches that came in it though. So maybe I won't pull it apart because these switches are really nice actually. Unless y'all think it's worthwhile to show off some different switches. I have some mirrors, I have some cosmic purples, hyacinth V2Us. Obviously I have silver smoothies. But you can see here there are 3 layers here in between the PC plate and the PCB, which will be our interesting. I don't like that, but okay. That would be for me pulling off the keycaps. So good to know. So when you're pulling off the keycaps, these guys right here are going to pull up and out of the sockets. So make sure you push them back down. It's not usually that much of an issue with flex cut PCBs, with flex cut plates, which you can see. It's not as flex cut, but there are definitely flex cuts on the rows here. You can often get that. There is a light isolator for the RGB in it, and that is good. That's some good stuff. For those of you who remember who Johnny Carson is. No, I think I'm just gonna keep those switches in here. Unless we want to go for a clacky build, which I don't. Something tells me it needs to go in this way, but it seems like it should want to go in the other way. That explains why it wanted to come out in the first place. Alright. Alright, so all of that having been said, where's our little, there your antenna goes, okay. So in the bottom you have that open cellish type of foam. Beneath that you have a PET sheet as opposed to the Tide where this foam and the PET sheet were connected, glued together, if you will. That is not the case here, and that is good. And that is this. Finally, disattached, sorted. And get you back in here. These little antenna connectors so much. There we go. Okay. Whew. I hate those things. Anyway, gaskets. Silicone gaskets. Not too bad. Case. Thick. Right, get that back together. Screw it back down. So, effect you like clacky boards or deep sounding boards? More of a creamy type sound? Creamy sound, which, you know, is the funniest sound profile. Because, you know, it's just an awkward word to say in relation to a lot of things. Poppy boards. Like, are you... Because, like, one of the sound profiles that has always kind of resonated with me, if you will, even if you won't, is marbling. That illustrious sound of hitting two pool balls together is one of my favorites. Alright, let's see if we can get this back in here so it works properly. By the way, I call into question whether or not this is really a 75% keyboard. This is more of an 80%, similar to the new Wooting 80. Because of the way it's laid out. I mean, it has all of the keys sort of a 75% in that it has you know, 5 keys over here, plus the arrow cluster, plus the function row. But, you know, I think saying that it's a 75% kind of gives the wrong impression. I don't know if y'all agree or disagree. I think that 75%, just like a TKL or an 1800, describes something specific. Which is to say, you know, even an unexploded or an exploded, it doesn't really matter. But the 75% profile generally has a single row here. It could have like a single row and a couple at the top. I've never tried a Wooting keyboard. I think that they are, when they first came out, and the technology behind them is groundbreaking, and I respect them for it. I think they put a lot of work into their designs. I think that they overcharge for their keyboards, especially in the current market, especially with what they're charging for their ABS plastic case keyboards. They're essentially using what are now basically off-the-shelf switches that are, with the exception of the Gateron Jade Pros, which even those are in the concept of keyboard switches, magnetic Jade Pros, you know, God love them, are starting to get a little long in the tooth. They've started to become eclipsed. I'm glad that Wooting is winning the war on switch profiles. Now that Akko and /Monsgeek has come around and their stuff is now compatible with Wooting, I think if you want, it's like any other high-end keyboard. If it's what you want, if it's the Wooting or nothing, I fully respect your decision to want that Wooting. Like, there are some keyboards that I honestly have to say that I don't feel that way about. Like, Just that I think that while neat are intrinsically bad keyboards, and I would avoid them personally. All right. So I think, oh, knob back on. Knob has no facing, it just friction's on, so that's good. The bump on the knob is all right. I'm not a big fan of pink, so I'm going to retake this narrative by going with red. Yeah, well, I mean, the Wooting 60HE, the current iteration, not the one that's about to come out, is how many years old now? 4? 5? The technology has come a long way, and the Fun 60 Pro is, what, a year old, if that? So, I mean, of course, you know, it's going to be, there's a lot of things that have happened in the industry. So, not to mention the prices have come down. But again, Rooting is a niche store, so even though the prices come down for, you know, like a company like Akko or Monsgeek, they don't come down as fast or as far. Well, yeah, I mean, that's why earlier I was saying, you know, if you instead of getting something like the Ice Ring 63, buy an Aula, you know, Win 60 for, you know, $35, and then put it into a Tofu Redux case, or even put it into the Wooting case if you really want to overspend for a case, and boom, you got yourself like a solid premium keyboard. Because, I mean, Gateron Jade Pros, like I said, even though they're getting a little long in the tooth, are still a solid switch. So, well, the prices are starting to come down. And you can find them aftermarket now, as people who bought Jade Pros are starting to move over to newer switches. You know, they're dumping their Jade Pros because they don't need them. So these Jade Pros I bought, you know, again at an auction, because auction, and I think I paid $20. No, less than $20 for 90. So, in that way, they are not overpriced if you can get them. Just like these milky yellows. Oh man, got these milky yellows, 72 pieces, still in box. $1. Yes, I had the V2 Syracuse Indigo set, which I have since sold to one of the other people in the local community. And I have a aluminum Nellis auction, Nellis. It's only in select U.S. cities, with, you know, local to me being one of them. But I have a set that Stupid Bullets Tech was nice enough to give to me. That is an aluminum, blue aluminum set that I have on my numpad, which is a Sea-Doo numpad. Okay. Yeah, I think they are originally based out of are ceramic keycaps worth it? Not to me, they are not. Mainly because there's a ceramic ting on the spacebar that I did not find appealing, which is why I never had it mounted. Oh wait, I was going to use some alternate colors. We'll come back to use. I'm going to put some of this stuff away. Again, if you're looking for that deep sound, then certainly ceramic keycaps are a way to get at it. Stay in there. I'm going to take you out again. This time for good. That's right, I threaten foam. What? Just kidding. So you, that's my 6U. And then arrows. These arrows. No, let's go with the other arrows. First things first, put you away. Metal keycaps also have a bit of a unique ting to them, but not as pronounced, and not as, I'm going to say bad, but not bad for everybody, just bad for me. I would ride a metal set on at least one or two of my boards if I had them. I mean, obviously, All Keys is the go-to maker of metal keycaps, and the stuff I've seen them coming out of there. You know, keep in mind, excuse me, keep in mind that with the metal keycaps, you have to watch out because they include what is essentially a flathead screwdriver and a pair of pliers so that you can wedge them apart or pinch them a little bit, because when they're made, plastic is more forgiving. So when you are putting on your keycaps, if you have metal, or if you have plastic keycaps, they will give a little when you push them in to slide over the stems. Both of them being plastic, unless you have like a really soft plastic like LY, which you really then have to be careful. Then they give a little and go onto your and come up. With metal is obviously less forgiving. So when you're putting them on, you have to make sure that you kind of have that sweet spot to where it grabs onto the stem, but not so much that you're shredding your stem or denting it or damaging it. It's kind of a problem I've had. I use one of these for opening my switches, and on some stubborn switches, I've actually had it, this piece, when it pushes onto the stem to open up the housing, I've had that dent LY stems. So be careful. But yeah. Levian Rose, one of my faves. Let's go ahead and we are going to pause the music for a second so that I can do a sound test. So this is the Epomaker Galaxy 70 keyboard with the Huano Blossom Odyssey switches and Swag Keys, Levian Rose, double shot ABS, no, double shot PBT, double shot keycaps. We're going to do a sound test. Here we go. Okay. What do y'all think? It's all right. Maybe I do want to try something a little different. At least the stabilizers are good. Like out of the box, that's always a plus for me. What do we got up here right now? Not the silvers. What are you? Oh. We're gonna go for something a little outside the box, although it's gonna kill the RGB. Maybe that's why we need to go with choose. But I do want to try it, just because I like trying these in different boards. At least while I got them, before I figure out somebody to unload these off to. So this is a, these are the HMX K01s, which is basically the HMX version of the Gateron Brown. It's alright. But, let's see, because right now it has the RGB turned off, but so let's go take a look at that. We'll get the software, we'll open it up, and we'll see what we can see as far as getting some RGB going here. Again, this is a driver-based software, not VIA-based, so you do need to install software in order to use it. I am downloading that now. We will run it. Then I'll go ahead and bring it up. And we'll take a look. See what the features are of it. If it will show up. Cool. There we go. Okay, so here's the software. First thing we're going to do is factory reset the keyboard. Just back to English. So there's your RGB out of the box. We haven't made any changes to it yet, really, except for changing the keycaps. That looks pretty good. Back home. Okay, basic. See what we have. So we have top layer and a function layer that we can manipulate. Let's see what we can do with that. So we want to make that quieter, make that louder, make that mute, and make that stop, make that play pause, make that previous, make that next. So far, so good. I don't see any way that I need to save it, so if that's the case, I should be able to do that, and I can. Yeah, so, I mean, this works fine. You can set macros. Here's what I want. Ooh. There we go. One of my favorites. Kind of, you know. User lighting, which I think is per key RGB. Real-time lighting 1. That's weird. How do I change the little bar? If you can't change the little bar, I'm gonna be mad. Grrr. Just gonna put that down to low. That's always so frustrating. They have done this a couple of times. Why wouldn't I be able to change that? Maybe it's changeable with hotkeys. I think I saw that before. Not that important. It's not that important. Alright. Anyway. The fact that it's not changeable in this software is stupid and wrong and dumb. No, I keep going back there. The only other mice that I have right now are the Glorious mice. I have Glorious, I have Wireless D and Wired D. I use the Wired D on my laptop. I use the wireless at work. I use the wireless at work because at one point I got the Glorious Hall Effect keyboard to test. It required me to install the Glorious Core 2. When I did that, it essentially just murdered the battery on my mouse. So my mouse went from a couple of days to maybe 2 hours of the wireless on wireless at that point. So instead, I got this guy because I wanted a mouse that I could drop onto a dock when I'm done, and that had good performance. That I didn't need to do that. Like, I drop this onto that charger maybe once every 3 or 4 days. And I have rarely, if ever, no, I have run it out of power before, but it's rare. So I've been pretty happy with this little Ajaz guy right here. There are, obviously, I know better mice out there, but for my purposes, it's not, there's not much out there for me. You know, price range and stuff. So, right, we are gonna, now that I've got the RGB going, let's try some other switches. What are we thinking here? Let's go with the let's go with a purple switch. Either the Cosmic Purples or Cosmic Purples or Hyacinth V2Us. You've got your choices between HMX or, oh, wait for it, HMX. So, we're going to drop them in here and we'll see how it sounds. those in there. We'll leave those in there. We'll change the other sides. I think these two, or these four, sounded the closest to the same. So despite popular opinion, all HMX switches are not the same. There are some very significant sound differences. Oh wait, I was gonna try the chew. Oh yeah, because we could do the chew switches, and then we can get even better RGB. Right. Oh, let's just put these on here first. That's closer to what it sounds like. See, this one's, which is the Hyacinth B2U, pretty high. This, deeper than the ones that are on here. The chew, which we will definitely say that we're not going to use the B2Us. You guys are going to get out of here. Forget about it. I think I have enough chews to do an entire Galaxy 70. It'll be close, I think. But the chew, which is also an HMX switch. I love HMX switches, by the way, because I like this solid bottom out, but you can get them in this kind of deep but solid bottom out. But let's see. We do this. We plug this in. Yeah, the RGB is going to be a lot better. Let's show you. Let's show everybody. So you can see. Oh, well. Thanks for joining me, Feck. It was great talking to you, and thanks for the good luck, and good luck to you with your new keyboard. Have a great sleep. So yeah, you can see here how with the chew, the milky top or milky housing just kind of grabs onto the light and really gives it a boost, whereas the Blossom Odyssey, because it's a lighter color, still grabs a lot of the light, not quite as much. And then of course the Cosmic Purples, which are a dark purple color, are not only going to gather and give off as much light, but also it's going to slightly tint it to the purple. So the question is, do I want the better RGB but the worse sound? Because I think that the Cosmic Purples are better for this board. I think I do. So we're going to go with Cosmic Purples. So you can stay there. You need to go. And then take you out. I have an empty container here somewhere. Did I put something in it? I might put something in it. All right, whatever. Going with Cosmic Purples. So the next thing I like to do with new switches that I'm going to put into a keyboard, there is what I call it the Heya test. By the way, on switches, if you are using a plastic plate, especially a softer plastic plate like polycarbonate, sometimes it just doesn't grab on to the switch as much as these keycaps. And so when you end up pulling out the keycaps, the switches just come with it. Like, hey, I'm coming too. Here. I think I'll also replace the inner. I'm going to end up replacing them all anyway shortly, so... Okay. Space. H E Y. S and A. Alright, so let's take a look here. So this is the Cosmic Purples. So, I mean, how much is it adding? See, I think it gives it a bit, like he was saying earlier, or she, who knows, bit of a poppier sound. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. So when I am changing out switches on a keyboard that is plate gasket mounted, one thing that you need to be aware of is that if you take out all the switches at the same time, sometimes the plate will drop because it's not being supported on the other side by anything. So then when you go to put in your switches, it doesn't reach, and so you should put them in 1 or 2 rows at a time. We're going to do a 2-row build here, so we're going to take out the F row and the number row first, then we'll take out the Q and A rows, and then finally the spacebar row. Of course, we're going to end up skipping all those switches that we've already changed out, so that'll help. In the middle, if anybody has any questions, let me know. If anybody wants to talk about anything, we got a keyboard meetup tomorrow, which is why I'm streaming on a Saturday. Here in the Colorado area. I'm very excited about that. I was trying to decide what keyboards to bring. Trying to decide if this is going to be one of those keyboards that I bring. Because I like showing off some new stuff. Even if they're not necessarily like the newest stuff, and they're certainly not the most expensive stuff. But, you know, I don't have any of that sweet Owl Labs endorsements yet. Owl Labs, hopefully you're listening and you're like, that guy's awesome. Let's send him that new Owl Labs keyboard. Or at least a Neo 80 CU. I would love to look at that. I love my Neo 65 CU. Although, you know, I would kind of rather get a look at the Neo 65 Core. Oh man, that'd be awesome. My review of the of all Athenas has been delayed. The Athena 1800 was delayed because KBD fans screwed us over, and so that was not great. And so now we're having to wait until November, and then once November hits, well, that's going to be a whole new ball game of tariffs. So that'll be great to see how that shakes out, because I don't want to pay tariffs on that keyboard, especially since, you know, I ordered it way back when. Freya's heading home now from a baby shower. Not hers. And yeah, so KBD fans did not order enough of the purple, and so they're like, you can get your money back, you can pick black or white, or you can wait 3 extra months. And I'm like, well, I don't really want black, but I would kind of go with that if that's, you know, what I had to do. And then they're like, oh, no, black's gone. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'm waiting then. If I want it, and I kind of do, so yeah, that was that. So I did not get the Athena 1800 yet. So that's that story so far. And then the Athena 65 from Nick's Keys, he's going to be sending that to me. Unfortunately, he's been caught up in other bureaucratic red tape and hasn't been able to send out the rest of his orders yet, and hasn't been able to send me the review copy, which sucks, but I mean, that's not his fault. First of all, he's a small producer so far. He's gonna blow up though, yo. He's a small producer. He's doing it for the love of the project, and I give him a lot more latitude than I give KBD fans, because KBD fans, well, I mean, no keyboard maker is really big, I would say. They're all essentially small houses, but you know, they should have seen which way the wind was blowing. They should have ordered enough. I don't know. I'm just getting frustrated because there's those two that I'm waiting on. There's the ASCII F that I'm still waiting on. Then there's the Curve 65 that I'm waiting on. It's like I'm building up this backlog of keyboards that I've already paid for that I'd love to see and review and show off to you guys and the guys at the meetups and the gals at the meetups and the gals on here. And anyway, that's enough about that. How are y'all doing today? You may be asking, why do I line them up like this? Besides helping out people, well, sort of helping out people with OCD, because they're still not lined up, but makes it putting back on a lot easier. Nope, that entire row, pretty much. All the way through H, so... And the M key's done. Like I said, since that is all done, that makes things a little bit easier. By the way, I want to thank everybody for joining me on a Saturday for my special edition. Are there any keyboards for anybody who's watching right now that y'all are anxious about seeing? And we know that, in fact, who's gone now was anxious about that SU75 Pro. And we know the ones I'm excited about, well, the ones that I've already paid for that I'm excited about, as well as the ones that I have not. You know, the Neo, the 65 and Core, and sorry, Core Plus. Plus is no, it's not. As well as the 80 CU, because it's a 10-pound keyboard, and I just want a 10-pound keyboard. There's some other ones that are out there. And, you know, once we're done rebuilding this, we can take a look at a couple. See what's out right now. Because there's a lot out there right now. If you have the money to pay for the keyboard and the tariffs, that are good to be had in the main market. And then, it seems like there is a lot of new good stuff that's happening in the aftermarket if you are on the lookout. Things like, you know, the new BIOS, or not the new BIOS, but BIOS is starting to show up in aftermarket more, and at least it seems to me. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Tell me. Comment down below, or to the side. Whatever side works for you. Who knows? You know, or are you like a deal shopper like me, where you're finding them on the auction sites? All right, you're already done. Because that is a good place, and then I think Sume is starting to ship more to the US again, and that's nothing but good for me, or bad for me, depending on your opinion. Although I'm mostly in a buying freeze right now. I did get the Dry Studio, but because I have to be pickier, I think I'm probably going to end up returning that. I think I'm going to return it. I think I'm going to get that one. I'll show you that one after, because I think that I'm going to order it. It's going to come in a couple weeks. But it uses it's electrocapacitive, but it's hot swappable with mechanical switches, but not in the same way that something like the Blue Ridge is, which is more of a true EC board. So it's interesting that this board, well, it's interesting to me that this board uses Guano switches, since like 90% of the time Epomaker is using their own internal switches. They just have their brand new one, the silent switches. That I probably won't try. Those are not my cup of tea. Probably the next switches I buy are going to be HMX Fireworks if I can get them, and I can afford them at the time. Because supposedly they are like cilantros, only better. I would love to see for myself. Alright, last 4 for this. Get the keycaps on, we'll test it. Might do one more build with different keycaps, because I had a thought, which is never good. Okay, so here we go. Cosmic Purples on the Epomaker 70 Galaxy 70 with Swag Keys, Libby and Rose. And let's do a quick sound test. We'll pause the music. And here we go. Okay, so I had a thought. So I was thinking about that SU-75 and its translucent black keys, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, I can do that. Yeah, hold on a sec, I'll be right back. Okay, so got this Alfie-ish dark lights set. And I put it in a new box because the box it came in was stupid and I hated it. I consider a lot of things to be stupid and I hate a lot of things. I have very strong opinions. All right, why don't we put those on here and see how we like that. I think it will work well with the dark purple switches. One of the concerns I had previously for that was the fact that these 1.0 switches and the chews that I thought I was going to be using are light colored. And if you put a light colored switch underneath a dark translucent keycap, you often run into problems. And the problem is that you can't read it. And I don't touch type, so I need to read keycaps. Like a sucker. Oh, I forgot to put the music back on. Let's do that. My haunting vocal dark fantasy music. You know, everybody else is doing lo-fi. Me, dark fantasy and dark academia. Anyway. All right, there we go. Done. Deal with you after the stream. That's the overpass. And nav. Right. Arrows and nav. Well, first, let me just deal with that mean. Okay. You're good. All right. Let's do it. Fuzz. So I like this set. It's kind of hard to tell, but there is a difference. Like these are darker. These are darker. The mods are darker than the other ones, which are kind of a lighter smoke. So you still have that difference, which is cool. Coolsville, Daddy-O. Yep, I definitely think this is the way to go. I like this Libby and Rose. One of my favorite sets, but I think this is definitely hitting for me. I don't know why RGB Y. I mean, I get RGB. I get CMYK. What RGBY? What is that color combination? I mean, I guess it is the theme colors of the set, because you've got it on the space bar right here. And there's a little preview. Nope, don't escape. You get back where you belong. Keycaps. Alright. Alright. Well, let's get that out of the way. So, first of all, let's just do a quick typing test. First of all, can we take a moment to admire how that looks? That is a fine looking keyboard, if I do say so myself. I definitely think that those translucent black keycaps with the colors are just, what's the word the kids use? It slaps. Anyway, here we go. This is Dark Lights translucent keycaps on Cosmic Purples on the Galaxy 70 full foam. Why do you sound like that? Why? Apparently, I just didn't like that switch. Apparently, at one point, that switch got damaged. Might have always been damaged. I just never noticed it because I might not have ever used it before today. All right. Let's go ahead and give it some RGBs. Take the brightness down to a 2. Yeah, I mean, come on, that's cool. I think that looks nice. I think that's the build. I think this is the build for this keyboard right here. Looking at it, which means that unless anybody has any questions or wants anything, I think we might be done for today. Obviously, I won't be streaming tomorrow since I'm going to a keyboard meetup. I will take pictures and be posting them around to different Discords. If you have any questions or if you want anything from me, find me on said Discords. Let's go ahead and take a look at and see if there is a rateable person out there in the keyboarding world. No, that's a painter. Crochet and chill. I don't know if they know what that means. There we go. Tyler Keyboard Live. Building a Marisi. There's my guy. Oh, because he stepped away. We'll rate him. Thank you for the stream, everybody, and I appreciate you. Have a great day.